Hi everyone, Joe here. This is a story of a man, a young immigrant, and his wife. And this was in the 1940s, early 50s. And they had immigrated and were looking for the big dream in America. And they had wound up on the East Coast. Didn't have very much money at the time, so they rented a room from a farmer way out in the country. And George knew that he had to find a job, and he had heard about an opportunity at the Baptist church in the city. And so he decided that he was going to go and apply for the job. So he put on the best clothes that he had, which were not very good, and he decided that he was going to go and apply for that job. And his wife packed him a lunch. She made a sandwich and put 2 apples in a paper bag. And that was in hopes that he would be able to work the day and then come home in the evening. So he set out and he went to the Baptist church and he sat down with the pastor. The pastor was interviewing him and they really hit it off. They got along very, very well. And the pastor turned to George and said, well, he said, I would really like to hire you for this. And he said, just fill out this application and we'll take it from there. And George kind of stopped and very embarrassed said, I'm sorry, Reverend, I don't know how to read or write. Even back in England, I've never learned how to read or write. And the pastor said, oh, he said, well, he said, I'm awfully sorry, then I can't hire you because I'm not here all the time and I would have to write notes for things that I would want to be done. And if you can't read them, you would need to read the notes. He said, so I'm sorry I can't hire you, but I wish you well, though. And so George left very disheartened. And he walked down to a busy corner where he could catch the bus for the 45-minute ride back to the country where he had rented the cheapest room he could find to take them to the end of the month where he was hoping he would have some work. And he opened the paper bag and took out an apple, and as he was just looking at the apple, a passerby came by and said, hey, buddy, how much you want for that apple? And George said, 5 cents. And the man said, good, I'll take it. And he gave him 5 cents and took the apple. And that gave him an idea. And he took the other apple out of the bag and just kind of held it out and like an invitation. And finally someone came up and said, how much you want for the apple? And he said, 5 cents. And the man gave him 5 cents, took the apple, and off he went. And that set things working in his mind. So when he got back to his room, the room that they were renting, he asked the farmer, he said, you have all these apples on the ground. He said, how about if I picked them up and went back into the city every day and sold them, and I would share the money with you. And the farmer said, you can pick up the apples, surely. He said, just give me a little bit of money. He said, I actually pay people to pick up these apples before they rot on the ground. He said, my apple selling season is over, so whatever is left, you can have to take into the city. And said, so George did this. Every single day, he would take bags of apples down to the busy street corner and sell the apples. And then finally, he was taking crates, and he built himself a little stand and just continued to sell the apples. And when the apple season was over, he took whatever produce was in and took it to the stand and sold the produce. And finally, farmers were coming to him for the produce, and he would to sell the produce, and he would sell the produce and then buy the produce from the farmers and then sell it at a profit. And eventually he was hiring kids to work there for him, and he bought a truck And then he built 18 of these stands all around this busy city. And way back then, you didn't have to have a license to do this sort of thing. But he set up these apple produce stands. And eventually, they bought a home. And because George never learned to read or write, he didn't really trust banks or know what to do. So he just had all this cash, and they stashed it in the basement of the home that they had bought. And his wife said to him one day, you know, George, she said, I just don't feel that all of this is very safe down there. She said, people know that you're a businessman, and they know that we have money. And she said, I really think it's time for us to go to the bank. So they took all of these large canvas bags just stuffed with cash to the bank. And fortunately, they got a very nice man. And he said, wow, where did all of this come from? So George told him the story of the apple stands and not being able to read and write, and that he didn't want to be taken advantage of. And the man said, we will take very, very good care of you. I promise we will take very good care of you. So they started the bank account. And from there, it just got even better. So whatever is up with you, whatever is your story, and whatever you think that might be stopping you, if you turn that around, it just might be the very thing that sets the momentum going. It might be the story of you can't turned into the story that you can. So whatever it is that you have to start with, make it absolutely wonderful in your mind, even if it's just 2 small apples. Make it a great day.